Commission regular session to order on Monday, February 10th at 7 p.m., Franklin City Hall. We'll begin with roll call. To my left,
Ralph Spiker.
Mary Hobbs.
Kathy Stoles.
Brian Alvey. And Joe Kelly.
And please also note the attendance of our counsel, Michael Kyle. Speaking of Michael Kyle, do you happen to have minutes from the last couple of meetings?
I do. We have December and January here. Do you have a regular copy piece of paper?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. And Chief, could you have everybody that's present sign in? Thank you.
That's what they said.
Practically nothing. 15 minutes perhaps.
Brian, do you want to look at this over? You guys. This is our December meeting. Have you looked at it?
I've glanced through it.
Okay, Joe, did you? Okay. December meeting. Did you look through the January minutes also?
I believe so. You need a motion?
I don't think Brian was here for January.
I know he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're online. No?
Thank you.
Want to make a motion? And then I'll need to sign them. So the delay is because the commissioners have not seen the minutes from the December or January meetings that were prepared by council, and so we need to do a quick review before preparing a motion and then taking action on the minutes. Motion? Someone?
I'll make a motion to approve the December minutes as written.
Is there a second on the approval of December minutes?
I'll second.
Mary?
I second.
Okay. So moved by Spiker, seconded by Hobbs, that we approve the December minutes as prepared by our former counsel, Jim Admire. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so that puts us at the January minutes. And I would entertain a motion that the January minutes be considered for approval.
I move that we approve the January minutes as written.
So moved by Hobbs. Is there a second to the motion to approve the January minutes of the Fire Merit Commission? Ralph, would you please?
I was not here.
Oh, you were not here, and you weren't here. Joe, it's up to you to second them.
Second?
All right, thank you. So there were only three of us at the January meeting, and so it's moved by Hobbs, seconded by Kelly, that we approve the January minutes as prepared by current council. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes for those two meetings have been approved then. Under old business, we don't have anything on our agenda. Do any of the commissioners have items under old business? Chief Snyder?
I was not able to make it to the January meeting. I had the flu, but Preston had told you guys we needed to start a new process, so that should be under old business. We need to start a new hiring process because I'm out of candidates.
Okay. Well, at the January meeting, he had mentioned that you're running background checks on 2 candidates, that would put us at full staffing, so,
No, that will be one short.
okay. So at this moment, we're 1 short, or we're,
We will be one
3.
short. We have a firefighter that's in the process of retiring, being pensioned off medically. So
Okay.
once he's pensioned off medically, then we will be one short. So
and there are no other candidates in the pipeline then?
not to have the qualifications. They have to have fire 1 and 2, hazmat, EMT, and their CPAT requirement, and there's nobody. So,
Chief, can I ask a question?
yes,
When were the last time?
Last
there-
year.
There's still some people on the list, correct? When was the last time we contacted any of those people to find out if they have?
I don't have to. I can go online and look.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. So when they apply to us, they give us their PSID number, which is the state tracking number of all your certifications. So I can go on there and check certifications. So I can go on at any time and look at anybody that I know their PSID number, so candidates, and check their PSID number, and we just don't have any.
Would it be worthwhile to make a phone call to some of those people to find out if they're close, or to let them know that they could possibly be the next candidate up if they did something?
They've all been called multiple times. Yeah. So I've hired 8 people this year, so they've all at least gotten 3 or 4 phone calls. 8 people in 24, and all of them have had 3 or 4 phone calls. So I know our number 2 candidate that was on the list got on IFD because I saw a picture of him in their process. So yeah, it's just they're getting to the point where they don't have any motivation to go and get their certifications and or what they need to get hired. So
Are you making that a personal assessment, or do you have any feedback?
well, if you haven't even started to get any certifications yet, I feel like you're very motivated. So, and we have a person on our list that has 0 when I called him to ask him what his PSID number was early last year, he goes, "What's that?" So he hasn't even started anything. So he's like number 5 on the list. So it's just, I don't have any candidates, and at any time when I need to fill something, if I don't have anybody to pull from on the list, it's sort of hard to do. Then we run into, I had last year we did in our overtime budget, with having all the holes, we had over $200,000 worth of overtime budget. So, because if I can't get people hired, my list didn't get certified till February. Soon as my February 12th, my list got certified last year. February 13th, I called and offered Brody Dahl, which was number 1 candidate on the list, a job application. He had to go all the way through public safety medical, and it's usually an 8-week turnaround from the time I send them to public safety until I get them started. So if I don't have a list, if we don't get this going, it's just going to put us behind the 8 ball if anybody leaves this year, if I don't have any qualified candidates to get them replaced.
I think technically we probably need to put this on as new business in March, since for public notice purposes, we didn't have on our agenda for
Okay.
tonight.
So we're starting all over.
Well, this list will still be active. It's still a 2-year list. Just like we ran dual list the last process. We had a list that went from, we started in February 12th, it was approved, and the old list expired in August. So we can still have 2 lists going. And I can see some of those people probably reapplying on the new, oh, they're running another process, I'm gonna apply again. And
Can we ask those people if they're not interested, if they'd like to just be removed from the list?
I've had people tell me that.
Because they're wasting our time and a lot
Oh,
of
yeah,
money.
yeah. So,
I mean, I think it's fair that they're given the option, but if they don't want to be a Franklin firefighter, then they
I agree 100%.
respectably should be moved from the list.
And I called people last year, and there was a couple that told me, yeah, I changed my mind. I don't want to be a career fireman anymore.
Is there any way that, they have these certain requirements, obviously. If they don't hit them by a certain time hack, they automatically fall off the list.
Well,
It seems ridiculous to keep somebody on a list that won't do the simple basics to be hired.
right, and that's why,
It's a big hazy list. It's a pointless list.
right, and that's exactly why I'm asking to start a new one. Because if they won't, I can have a list all day long, but if that list has no qualified candidates on it, that list is useless to me. So,
You need to get in front of this.
that's what I'm trying to do, is get in front of it.
The individual that's retiring this year is obviously not planned on, because you said it was a medical,
Medical pension,
so that's early.
Oh, yeah, he and I hired the same date, so he's got 06 seniority. So, he's going out at just 18 and some change, but, he's not gonna be able to physically come back to do the job, so.
Yep.
We started his medical pension January, Preston, 1st of January, yeah. And we haven't got word on it yet, but as soon as he goes, we will be one short. I sent 2 on the
Is he in a leadership role?
yes.
That's what I think.
Yeah, he is a lieutenant, so, when he pensions off, Preston is number 1 on the lieutenant's list. He'll get sworn in as the merit lieutenant in his spot, and we will have an appointed lieutenant on that shift, fill in Preston's, lieutenant spot while Preston's deputy chief. We sent 2 gentlemen on the 31st of January to Public Safety Medical. I've got one of their packets back, and the other one I'm waiting to hear from. I was trying to do them at the same time, but if they keep dragging their feet, I will start it earlier. I usually get their paperwork back from Public Safety Medical on Wednesday or Friday, and I did not receive it on Friday of last week, so if I don't have it by Friday of this week, I'm going to get the one that's already through, get him, because it's, our pension board has to meet, go over the packet, approve it, deny it. He got a recommendation from the state, dual recommendation, so they will approve it, I'll sign it, and then I fax it up to the state, and then it's another couple weeks. Usually, if I can get it to them by a Friday where they have it on Monday morning, it usually goes to the doctor on Thursday for review, and the doctor checks off that he is good to join the 77 pension fund, and then I get it back and I can give him a start date.
I guess that leaves me with 2 things. One, I personally think we should give the chief an opportunity to start another process, start bringing people in. I think it's an obvious need. And 2, I think we need to start a conversation about what it would take where you can manage these lists of people on these lists moving forward. But if they're not hitting achievements by certain times to make them even eligible for the job, the chief should have the discretion, or maybe come back to the board to remove them from said list.
Does that affect our bylaws or any legality that we have, or?
Likely. I'll have to look into it.
I don't know the legality of it, but
Yeah,
it's
so-
just common sense to.
So we're gonna move to the agenda next month to discuss a new process.
Yes.
Brian, I know the only thing that I have to legally do is offer the first person on the list, and then I can start moving forward. If the first person on the list isn't qualified, then I can start moving forward, but the first person has to get a job offer. And then I can move like three ahead, so,
But if you have another list that you're running off of, now that runs right behind the first one, correct?
yes, so
you're
if I
obviously gonna
had
waste
an.
a little time going through the 5.
Yes, so if I had an opening come available and we had 2 lists, I would start at the first list, go down through it, then if nobody was qualified off that list, then I would go to the second list. This just tries to keep more candidates.
in the funnel. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And like I said, there will be people that run the list again. There'll be people that, you know, they almost are through a class or something and they'll run the list again. Or there's a couple that we all know about in here. If they would put their application in, I would bring it in front of you because they've already failed the psych exam on us, so.
Okay, so,
So in Greenwood, they're running their own academy to prepare trainees. Is that something that,
We quit hiring people in 2010 without certifications.
right?
So we quit doing that because we were hiring people, and if you do not have the qualifying certifications, hazmat, fire 1 and 2, and EMT, since those are the only classes that are required for you to be a firefighter, we have to pay those people off duty to go to class. So what was happening was we were paying them off duty to go to class because Greenwood hired 15 people at once. So we have one opening. So we would have to put, like if we hired somebody that had no certifications, I would have to find a class and send them to. Because it used to, when I got hired on in 2006, you could get hired without certifications.
Right.
And they would find a class, you had to have them by the end of your first year, your PROBA year. You had to have Fire 1 and 2, hazmat and EMT by the end of your PROBA year. So they would find classes, you would go on duty, you would go to class. After class, you'd come back and you'd finish the shift off. But like when I went to EMT school, I would go straight to EMT school. In the first thing in the morning, I'd get out at 4 or 5 o'clock at night. I'd come and I'd finish my shift. Then I'd get up the next morning at 6, drive to Indy, go to class, and then I got paid for 7A. When I went off duty, I got comp time for it. So we did away with that because we had too many people going and getting all the certifications they needed and then turn around and going to places that required you to have all your certifications. So we would pay for them to get educated and build up all this comp time, and then they were leaving, and the city was paying out a bunch of money. So,
So what I wasn't clear about from what the newspaper article had about the Greenwood Fire Academy is whether or not that academy prepared the firefighters by teaching them the firefighter 1 and 2 and the EMT.
yes, it does.
That's part of their
Yeah,
programming.
so,
Okay.
Usually anytime you hear an academy getting thrown around, like, I know people have left here and went to IFD, and you go through an academy there, and you go all the way back through firefighter 1 and 2, hazmat, and EMT, because they want you taught the way they want. So, yeah,
Where do we send our folks when they go through these classes?
they have to have them.
they have to have them before they get there.
Where are they going?
Oh, where are they going? So, Amity puts on a couple of classes a year, non-career departments, or C9,
Ivy Tech?
Ivy Tech. So, like, my son is a junior in high school. He's taking Fire 1 and 2 in hazmat this year at C9. So, he gets out half a day.
Obviously offer it for adult ed in the evenings.
Oh, yeah, it's at nighttime. So,
Okay.
and Ivy Tech offers it also. It's a fire science degree, but you go
How many hours are we talking of class time for these 3 certifications?
So-
Well, firefighter 1 and 2, EMT, I'm well aware.
firefighter 1 and 2, I did it 2 nights a week, and it was like 2 nights a week, 4 hours a day, and it was probably 3 or 4 months long when I took it back in 2004. Now, obviously, my son's going 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, and it's a school year. So.
Because dad still pays the rent. Huh? It's because dad still pays the rent.
Right. So, but like EMT, Brian, EMT, if you want it, you can have it in 17 days. You can go down, yeah.
Well, I got mine back in '92 down at Brooks Army Hospital. It was about 3 months.
Yeah, and that's what an EMT is, 3 to 6 months, depending on how. But like in my opinion, if you are lacking your EMT, and that's the only thing, and I've called you and said, hey, you got your EMT yet? No. And that's the only thing, you've got your other certifications and your CPAT, and that's all you're lacking. If I wanted a career job, I would pay $3,000, go to Bloomington, and in 2 weeks, 17 days, just over 2 weeks,
It's a shake and bake.
you live down there. You live at their school, and in 17 days, you're done with EMT school, and you're an EMT.
What's the attrition rate? Do they have a high graduation
Oh,
rate?
yes. Yeah, it's almost 100%.
So they make sure people graduate?
Yes, they make sure people graduate.
So let me ask you this, Chief. Do we have access to graduates coming out of school for placement so we can pluck them out as soon as they?
Because they got to wait 3 years to apply.
What do you mean?
You can't apply till you're 20, you can't get a job till you're 21. So what happens in that 3-year law of 18 to 21, they go to a department that has paid standby, that's career, that's still, they have career guys and they got part-time guys. And they go to those departments and start working, making $16, $17, $18, $19, $20 an hour
Yeah.
with no benefits.
Have we ever had that?
No, because
Which
we're the only,
departments do?
huh?
Which departments around us have that?
The ones that aren't career yet. So
Edward's
since,
one of them, aren't they?
so since Franklin's the only true career department in the county, we're the only full-time career department. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Everybody else is combination.
Okay.
So Greenwood still has part-time guys. Bargersville still has part-time guys. White River still has part-time guys. Those all started out as paid standby, volunteer departments. Then, okay, now we're going to hire a career chief. We're going to hire career officers. And the firefighters are the last to go all career, but they all still have positions. Now, this last academy for Greenwood, I think, will get rid of all of their part-time positions. And White River is got less than a handful of guys that are part-time. They're all working to go to full-time, but we're the only one that, we would be going backwards in the step to get part-time.
Okay. All right, I just had those few questions. I didn't mean to
No,
force you into it.
No.
Going down the rabbit hole.
no, I'd rather you all ask and know than to leave here wondering. Okay, so I guess that's new business, Kathy, sorry.
New business next month, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But next month, we won't have to hear all the explanation.
Yes,
It will
yes.
just
Yep.
be focusing on the process of hiring people, so. Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
So under new business, we have 3 items that all deal with our reorganization as a commission. And that's election of officers, appointment of council, and the oath of office. So we're going to start with the oath of office, which is an annual process for us on the commission.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, I see, I gotcha.
Okay, would you like us to stand and read this aloud? And then if we will read in unison the oath of office and substitute our names individually as we read. And should we look at the flag?
We don't have to. Should we raise our hand? Is that necessary?
Probably,
yes.
So I,
Aye.
Kathy Stoles,
Do
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and honestly discharge the duties of my office as Franklin Fire Merit Commission member according to law and to the best of my ability, so help me God. Okay, so if you'll sign those and then pass them down to council.
And then Jackie is here to notarize for us.
Open again. Again, you did not bring school supplies. Did not come to class with a
thank you for coming to do that, so we don't have to trust Mike and, I know, but to take him back to the office.
I think under the notary laws, they're supposed to actually
Yes,
witness
they
the
are
signing.
supposed to.
You did.
You most certainly did. It's on video.
Good point.
Still.
Okay, then the next item is election of officers. The Fire Merit Commission has 3 positions that are officers, secretary, vice president, and president. And we always start the election with the position of secretary. Do we have any nominations for that position?
Well, I'm currently the secretary. I am currently the secretary.
Yes. Mary is currently the secretary. Ralph, would you be interested?
No?
No? Brian, would you be interested?
No, thank you.
We elect you and then.
Yes, certainly, yes.
So, I nominate Mary Hobbs to return as secretary. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So moved and seconded that Mary Hobbs would be returning as secretary of the Fire Merit Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then we have the position of vice president, which is currently held by Joe Kelly. And,
I'll nominate Joe Kelly for vice president.
okay, we have a motion to nominate Joe Kelly to return as vice president. Is there a second?
Second.
What, same time?
She can have it.
I will,
Okay, so moved by Spiker, seconded by Hobbs to nominate Joe Kelly as vice president. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And then finally, president, position held by me, Kathy Stolz. Any nominations?
I nominate Kathy, continue.
Second.
Moved by Hobbs, seconded by Kelly, that Kathy Stolz return as president of the commission. Any discussion there? Okay, all in favor signify with aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so our 3,
Quick question, who had the second on Joe for vice president? Was that Mary?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get the secretary also? Okay. Okay, so our officers will remain the same through the next meeting. And then that puts us into the appointment of council. Do we have a motion to have appointment of council? Which, there's one obvious choice. Joe, you're looking at me like you want to say it.
I don't know what we're doing.
Appointment of council.
So Brian Alvey and Ralph Spiker.
No,
Merit-
No, legal counsel.
legal
Oh.
counsel.
It gets confusing. Counsel,
Well,
this,
yeah.
counsel that.
No, student council days are over. We're on,
Right.
okay,
So I nominate Mike Kyle as our
thank
legal
you.
advisor.
Okay,
Second that.
I'll second.
okay, moved by Kelly and seconded by Alvey that we will continue with Mike Kyle as our legal counsel for the commission. Discussion? All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that takes care of the items under new business. Is there anything else that I'm not aware of for new business? Okay, then that puts us at other. Do we have any others? Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
so moved by Spiker, seconded by Kelly to adjourn. All those in favor?
Thanks.
Aye.
Aye.
We were throwing that
Meeting's
council
adjourned.
this and council that around like I got, my head was spinning.